Imagine how it would feel waking up every single day with the burning doubt, with these burning feelings and sensations and beliefs that no matter what you did, it was never going to be good enough. No matter how hard you tried, no matter how much effort you put in, no matter what you did, it didn't matter. It was never going to be enough. No matter how hard you tried, at some point, someone is going to realize you're just not good enough. That's what it's like living with imposter syndrome. And if you're watching this video, you've probably felt that. And it's something that I've felt in my own life too. I mean, I've struggled with this feeling of imposter syndrome for as long as I can remember. And even being on this platform speaking to all of you right now, there is that voice in the back of my head telling me, who do you think you are that you should be sitting on a microphone on some platform right now telling other people what to do, or giving advice or giving recommendations on what other people should be doing and how they should be orienting their lives? So even the most successful, quote unquote, or even people in positions of authority or in power or so-called experts or whatever, they experience this too. Why? What is imposter syndrome? Why does this cultivate the way that it does? And more so, to the premise of this video, how is it even possible that you could use this? How is it possible that this could be something that's used for good? That's what I'm going to be diving into today in this video. There's a lot of content out there about overcoming imposter syndrome and how to defeat your imposter syndrome, and a lot of content that's basically directing us to the narrative that imposter syndrome is something to be fought against. But where I'm coming from in this, and what I actually think is more useful, because I've done it and I help my clients do it, how do you use it to help you succeed? I think that's a more powerful reframe. Because if we think about it, why are we so afraid of it? Why are we afraid of it? Well, what is the premise of it? It's this belief that we have that our accomplishments and the effort that we put in do not equate and do not come back to the self. So I do a behavior, I get a certain outcome, but I cannot allow myself to believe that that is due to my efforts. It's a fluke. Something happened that allowed for me to have this outcome. Something happened outside of me to allow this to happen, and I need to be on guard to make sure that whatever it is, it doesn't drop or it doesn't go away or I'm not found out. The underlying issue is this negative sense of self, this perceived sense that you're not actually good at what you're doing. You're not actually capable. You're not actually competent. And at some point, someone's going to find this out and tragedy is going to bestow upon you. Like, the most horrible things that could happen are going to happen. You're going to get a divorce, your boss is going to fire you, your kids are going to realize you're a terrible parent, and everything is going to crash and burn. We're terrified of not being enough. So what we do to push away from that and some of the factors that go into imposter syndrome, what we are doing is we're basically trying to safeguard our mind to make sure that we're not actually taking credit for anything so that we keep going no matter what. If I take credit, I'm somehow going to, lose my humility, let's say, and I will not continue to put the effort in to get these outcomes. And if you think about it, that's actually pretty genius. I'm going to use my brain and the mechanisms that are in my brain, such as the cognitive distortions or mental filters, to convince me of a narrative, to keep going, basically. because I'm so scared of losing whatever this success is. Usually when people end up like that, it's because of a few factors. Number one, they grew up in homes where no matter what they did, it was never good enough. Or for a lot of people, they're just born with a more anxious temperament. Not attachment, but a temperament. So the way that their mind thinks, they just have a more anxious and fearful way of viewing themselves, others in the world. And so they end up developing more perfectionist ways of thinking because of that anxiety, that anxious feeling that they're having. So they want to do good, they want to be better, they want to be successful, and they feel this increased sense of anxiety as a byproduct of that and as a facilitator of that to get them to do things. So if you think about it, it's actually pretty genius. I'm going to do these things to ensure that I'm doing the things I need to do. If you take a step back and you think about it that way, it's actually pretty helpful. It's not maybe done in the best way, but if you think about it from a functional standpoint, I am going to convince myself that I'm not good so that I can get better. Because I don't believe that if I give myself credit or if I'm not hypervigilant, I won't continue to do the necessary things. It makes a lot of sense. The problem with it is that you're not actually internalizing the achievements that you're doing, which are going to make you consistently engage in them, feel better about yourself, try harder, do better, have a more balanced and integrated sense of self that allows you to aim higher and achieve more. And this is where it can become really powerful. I was watching this video to prep for this video and for an article that I had written on the Evolve Ventures website, actually diving into this very topic. And what a lot of the content was saying that some of the highest achievers actually all have imposter syndrome, or not all, but a large percentage. And you're like, wait, what? I thought that only incompetent people had imposter syndrome. No. Some of the most successful people have imposter syndrome, and it actually makes sense if you think about it from what I just said. Assume you're not good enough, so you keep trying harder. Makes perfect sense. But again, it's not actually helpful in the ways that it ends up playing out. Because if you're consistently downplaying what you're doing, if you are consistently telling yourself you're not good enough, if you are consistently believing that no matter how hard you try, it's never going to matter, where does the self-identification and where does the self-assignment of your behaviors come in that help you to build a stronger sense of self-worth, a stronger sense of self-esteem, a stronger sense of confidence, and a higher sense of self-belief? You can't. So, how do you utilize it? How do you go from the maybe not so helpful aspects of imposter syndrome, where it's all negative and all criticism, and you're using that guilt and shame as a driving force, to actually partnering with the imposter syndrome to get better outcomes? This is the really cool part. This is what I did and what I continuously do and I try to do. This is what I've helped clients to be able to do. And this is something that you can do as well if you get into the habit of practicing what I am going to lay out. So I'm going to lay out a 3-step process. And if you work on this daily, imposter syndrome won't be something that you're terrified of. You'll recognize it as a pattern that you learned to try to make you successful. And if you think about it that way, why would you be angry at it? It's something that you learned to try to help you and make you successful. So it's not something you need to be mad at. It's just something that you need to modify and do differently and maybe change your approach in how you're navigating it. So what typically happens with imposter syndrome, and now I'm going to dive into the process of what you can do. So what typically happens is someone has a trigger, right? And not a trigger the way that we typically think about it, but a trigger meaning a cue. So a cue or a trigger comes up. Let's say you have a project or you have a deadline coming up. You have a cue. I have this project. It is due at this time. I have a fear of not doing well, but I also have this goal of wanting to do really well and wanting to be successful. That's awesome. That's really great. Nothing wrong with that. We don't want to do bad and we want to do good. That's great. The challenge happens right after that. Our brain does something called an appraisal. And an appraisal is an interpretation or a guess or a judgment of our sense of safety in a situation. So is this dangerous? Is this neutral? Or am I safe? With imposter syndrome, we have a cue, and our automatic appraisal is danger and threat. Because now there is this task that I have to do that I don't feel capable of, that produces substantial anxiety. And now the secondary appraisal, which is the thought after the main thought, is, oh my God, I can't handle this. I'm not capable of handling this situation. I'm bad. I'm not good enough. And so what do? We cope in unhelpful ways through overworking ourselves, double, triple, quadruple checking our work, making sure that everything is pristine, psyching ourselves out, having really negative self-talk to ourselves, assuming that we're not good, only looking to the past at our flaws and failures, and never actually seeing the good that we've done. That's where imposter syndrome is really unhelpful. So what you need to do instead, and this is a habit, this is something you are going to have to practice over time if you want to get good at it, just like any skill. Number one, when the cue happens, you are going to have that automatic oh shit moment. That's fine. We're not trying to stop that initial thought process because you're just probably not going to be able to. That's totally fine. If you see a stick on the ground and you think it's a snake and you're like, oh my God, your brain recognized threat. That's fine. The second part is what's most important. So the cue comes up, you start to feel anxious. Take a step back once that initial threat happens. Take a second and say, okay, I just noticed that I'm having these really scary thoughts and feelings coming up. Step number one, start identifying the emotions or the feelings and the physical sensations. What's coming up? What am I noticing? I'm noticing tension in my chest. I'm noticing that fluttering feeling that makes me want to puke and like run for the hills at the same time. I'm noticing tingling. I'm noticing tension all throughout my body and tightness. I feel hot and cold at the same time, and it's weird and I don't get it. Step one, identify the emotions and the rate or intensity at which you are feeling it. So 0 to 10, 10 being completely unbearable and 0 being not at all, not super bothersome. So that's part one of step one. Number two, what are the thoughts that I'm having that are going through my head? What is that automatic internal initial appraisal or interpretation that I'm noticing without judgment, without criticism, without blame, without harm? If I just gave myself a minute to really think about what are the thoughts that I'm having, what would that be? Oh, I'm so scared I'm not going to be able to do this. I like my job. It's not great, but I like it, but I need to pay the bills. I want to do a really good job, but I don't feel good enough. I feel like no matter how hard I try, it doesn't fix anything. It doesn't result in anything. I feel like I can't get outcomes. No judgment. Just give yourself permission to acknowledge what's actually happening without running away from it. That is a big issue that we have. We don't want to feel bad. So we do everything we can to run away from it, which inevitably makes us feel even worse in the long run. It doesn't make you bad for that. It makes you a human. Welcome to the club. We don't like feeling bad, especially when we do not believe that we have the tools and the resources to navigate it. So step number 1, recognize and identify the emotion and the message, right? What is the initial appraisal? Step number 2, this is called a secondary appraisal. This is when you go back and you reinterpret the meaning of what that means. So what is this telling me? What is the message that my fear is actually telling me? My fear, and what this is all telling me, is that I really want to do a good job. I care about my work. I care about how I show up in my relationship. I care about the kind of person that I am. I want to do well. It matters to me so much. There's almost always some sort of meaning like that underneath these primary fears. But when we're just stuck on the initial intensity of the initial emotion and the initial thought, we can't get to that deeper layer of, well, why? Why do I care? Why am I so afraid? What am I actually afraid of? And that's why we can't create change. So step number 1, identify the initial thought and feeling. Step number 2, what is that trying to tell me? What does it mean about me that I care this much? What does it mean about me that this is something that bothers me? If all of this were true, what would that mean? What would happen? Do I believe there's something I can do about it? Do I think that I can change? What is this actually trying to tell me? And then that leads us to step number 3, and now this is the actual final part. So you do step number 1, you do step number 2. Step number 3 is where the real change happens, where you really work with your imposter syndrome to be more successful. You reframe these thoughts. Because you understand that these scary thoughts, because really that's all they are, they're scary thoughts. Not to diminish your reality, but to help you to put it into perspective. They're scary thoughts. And yeah, thoughts can be terrifying and they can cause these really big, emotionally charged experiences. And that's okay. We can handle it. We can do hard things. We can experience hardship. And we'll get through it. So if you give yourself permission to acknowledge, okay, these are really scary thoughts, and then you utilize tools to reframe those thoughts, that's how you can make yourself more successful. That's how you utilize imposter syndrome to help you and to challenge you to get better. So I have some questions listed out over here. What evidence do I have from my past to support the fact that these fears are not true? What evidence do I have from my past to support the fact that I can succeed and do things well? Based on my fears of not doing well and the meaning that I am, insert the insult here, whatever you said in number 1, what can I do in advance to prepare myself to do this task really well? My fear is telling me that I will only do well based on a fluke. What do I need to do or show myself so I can recognize that this is actually based on my effort? If I believed that this was an advantage, how would I use it to help me get this goal that I'm aiming for? Imposter syndrome is not bad. It's a thought that you have utilized to help you succeed. And all we need to do is shift the focus. My fear is telling me that I'm not good enough. What it really means is I want to do so well. So if that's what this is actually telling me, then what do I need to do? And how can I self-assign it back to me? Where's the evidence that I can look for to help me see, oh, I am good at things? And if I'm not, that's also great. How can I equip myself? So for example, I initially was not a good speaker at all. I was actually relatively awful. Not that I'm the best in the world now, but my skills have exponentially improved. Number one, I noticed it. Number two, I admitted it to myself. And number three, I was like, okay, I'm not great. Is there anyone I know that can help me to get better? So I asked my mentor. I said, hey, I'm not great at speaking. I want to be a much more efficient speaker. Can you help me? Here we are 8 years later. These fears, these thoughts, these emotions, they can either be the thing that sets us back, or they can be the thing that we use to help us get to the place that we want to be. Because we recognize they're just thoughts and feelings, and I can change what they mean. I can change what I do about it. I can change how I show up. And then lastly, I can give myself credit for the fact that I am the kind of person that tries to do better. I'm the kind of person that will work really hard to get a good outcome. This is how you make imposter syndrome your best friend. This is how you utilize it and make it your ally for success. Work with it, not against it. And do this every day. This isn't going to be a one and done thing. You're rewiring your brain. You're rewiring these patterns that have been working in the way that they have been for years. It's not going to happen overnight, but give yourself the chance to allow it to take the time that it needs. And I promise you, it will work out for you the way that it did for me, the way that it has for my clients. And if you want to read the article that I published on Evolve Ventures, our website, I'll put the link down below and you can read it in a little bit more detail there. If this is something you want to work with one-on-one, send me a DM. All the links are down below, or you can DM me at Evolve with Bianca on Instagram, and I will get back to you right away and help you to figure out how you can do this for specifically you and your situation. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was incredibly helpful for you. And I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.